Hey folks, my name is Pravus and welcome to more Plague Inc. Evolved Custom Scenarios. It's been a long time since we last played this, I am aware. But I'm feeling a little bit nostalgic today, so we're going to go ahead and jump into things. The scenario I want to try out is called Brainrot by Charmander1110. A scenario created with the Scenario Creator Beta. The Scenario Creator Beta? Is there a beta for the Scenario Creator lately? Something changed? I didn't know that. Interesting. All right, well, let's go ahead and give this one a go. Brainrot is everywhere on the internets. If you spend too much time chronically online, I think brainrot is, in fact, inevitable. But in this case, it's going to be perpetuated by a Neurax worm. We have Metabolic Jump, Darwinist, Aquasite Extremophile, and Symptostasis. I don't really see any reason to change this. Mega Brutal? Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, it's a Neurax worm. Can't be that hard. The first Brainrot video has been produced. Ah, yes. God bless. God bless the internet. All right, so we're going to start off in the United States. Not what I would call my favorite location to start, but all right, what do we have? Addictive videos. Make it more addictive. Oh, okay, sure. People get, addicted to watching YouTube and stuff, which I would say is a terrible thing, but I financially benefit from it, so I actually encourage it. We have regional videos. Good God. 60 points, but for a lot of infectivity. Okay, I was about to say, this seems a little overpowered until I saw the cost. I guess that's reasonable. iPad distribution? Distribute iPads to poor countries. Yeah, that's ever gonna happen. Come on. All right, well, 12 points for a tiny bit more infectivity. Seems better to go for the addictions instead. Gen Alpha, lorem ipsum dolor sit amet. Why is this still here? This is a default little description here. No one put anything in there. All right. Gen Alpha, huh? Sure, we'll give it a go. Increase iPad security. Are we just assuming that everyone who has Brainrot is an Apple user? Is that what's happening here? Because that's kind of the message I'm picking up. And as an Android user, I'm okay with it, but I'm willing to bet that the majority of people who are watching this are gonna be offended. Steal content. Use a green screen kid to steal content, resulting in a random country getting Brainrot. Okay, so we apparently have some spore bursts. Unexpected, but okay. 3 million people have already been infected. Oh my God. In the early days of the internet, this actually would be viral. Now, what would be funny is if the start date for this actually did jump back towards some of the early days of the internet. Let's say the late 90s or the early 2000s. I know the internet existed before that, but let's be honest, culturally, it really started to take off in regular usage more around that time frame. So I'd say go back to that, but that's just me. That's just me. All right, so we can't afford any of the transmissions. I guess I'm just going to go ahead and grab Gen Alpha for the extra infectivity early on. We have a Brainrot language. Changes the infected's everyday speech to Brainrot, which is basically herder memes, right? I mean, really, this is kind of how I see it, you know? Not that memes necessarily have to be infected with Brainrot. It's not always true. It's just often true, all right? Let's not lie to ourselves. That's often true. I'm not going to go for making the extra iPad security and stuff for the cure. We're not worried about it. Let's find out what addictive videos is going to lead to. It's going to lead to another level of videos, which just makes them even more addictive than they were before. Because that's how addictions tend to work. They escalate, at least a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and grab the language. Everyone now is speaking the internet. Defensiveness. Increase of defensiveness towards Brainrot. And reduce attention span. Reduce the attention span of the infected. You know, this is actually something that I find is really unfortunate about the younger generations, mine own included, but I think that my generation is like the one that did not grow up with the internet, but very quickly had to adapt to the internet. I do feel like younger generations, though, the attention span has not really been there, and that only gets exacerbated by things like, TikTok and stuff like that, which, they're short videos, and they are definitely intended with their algorithm to be a very constant dopamine drip, so you're constantly looking for some sort of a gratification. I think it does lead to ultimately some problems, all right? Maybe I'm crazy on that, maybe I'm just an old fogey. I accept this possibility. But I think it could lead to some societal problems. Brainrot worship, who the frick worships the Brainrot? Can cause death due to ignoring needs. Do is misspelled. This is free, by the way, but I don't want the severity, so I'm going to ignore it and instead go for some more spore bursts. You never know if I can get onto, there we go, an island or into a continent is what I was going to say, that I otherwise did not have infected. I'm sort of surprised how effective the air transmission is, considering we haven't really done much with this. But for whatever reason, we're already getting onto a lot of planes. Also starting with like 3 million people infected was surprising too. But okay, so do we want to go ahead and wait for the 16 points and just pick up addictive videos 2, or do you go for the iPads? Nah, we go for the addictive videos level 2 and number 3. So I don't love it when people create a new scenario and then they just reuse the same description multiple times. This is 3 little transmissions in a row where the description is exactly the same. To me, that just says a lack of, like, creativity and diversity in your content. So personally, if I were going to give some advice to the creator of this scenario, I'd say maybe go back and add a little bit more there, you know? Find ways to vary it up. It doesn't have to be very drastic. They can all be additional escalations of addictiveness, that's fine, but like find ways to at least change up the language so it feels like you didn't copy-paste. I guess that would be what I'm saying. So let's go ahead and reduce those attention spans. I'm just kind of tired of waiting for now. Let's go ahead and destroy the brains of the infected. So that's going down another lethal route. At this point, I'm actually kind of thinking that a mutation chance would be a problem for me right now, because we might accidentally get something I don't like. Either something lethal over here, or we go for the worship path, which I also don't necessarily want to do quite yet. We're still trying to get around. To be fair, it's 2025, and we've still only got a few million people infected. Like, it's actually not very infective. We're getting around to countries. We just got detected, but we're not really picking much up. So now I'm starting to think we actually have to go for the increased iPad security at 17 DNA, just to be able to... Actually, now that I think about it, we've almost only infected, like, wealthier countries, right? And then we just got dementia, whether I like it or not. Oh, I don't know. That doesn't feel right. First death in the Caribbean. We could devolve this for 6 points. I'm going to leave it as is, but this is definitely not balanced toward Mega Brutal the way that it normally would be. And we're going to be killing faster than we infect at this point. Yeah, I have to do this. Let's actually go ahead and do that. Is anybody working on the cure extensively? No, not really. So we actually got rid of that before we had to pay too much of a penalty. So we killed some people, but we actually prevented it from being too much of an issue. But like, notice how slow this is. In fact, it's so slow, you know, it'll be faster? Restarting. I know that sounds stupid and weird, all right? I know. Stand by. I've decided because we started off in the USA, I'm so used to starting in places like Saudi Arabia, I didn't even have to think about it. And I should have thought about it. So we're going to go for the extra infectivity and stuff early on still. But then after that, I'm going to go ahead and grab some iPad security. Because we're only spreading mostly to wealthy countries. I mean, Indonesia, I guess, would be an exception. South America, kind of an exception there, too. A lot of wealth disparity in South Africa. But let's go ahead and pick this up. This should make it a little bit easier. If we do continue to spread in the USA, we'll actually start getting some DNA. If we spread in Europe, we're going to be fine. Protests. Protest the cure and destroy many labs. Increase the requirements misspelled for the cure and decrease cure research time. Decreases cure research time? Huh. So that sounds like it increases the cap and like the amount of points you need to cure me, but you also make them get points faster. No, I bet you what it means is it decreases how quickly they build up points for the cure. I'll bet you that's what they mean. Decrease their research time, so they research slower, but does not reduce the amount of time for cure. That's it. I think I've convinced myself. All right, let's go ahead and pick up a couple of these little spore bursts. Canada was not very helpful, but fine, we did get into France. I'm just trying to get going a little bit in some different continents. Maybe that helps a teeny weeny bit. I will pick defensiveness up, because a little bit of extra severity and the infectivity will be helpful for sure. But notice we have decent infectivity, and we are still not spreading worth a dang thing. And there's nothing I can do to get more of the drug resistance effectively. So even in wealthy countries, this just is what it is. Huh. So what else could I do? I mean, spreading faster in poor countries doesn't solve that problem. I would think addictiveness is still what you want, but that's not a lot of infectivity. We're infecting only a few thousand people per day. Now, this is pretty pathetic. Maybe you have to go down with the poor countries because the wealthy countries are too difficult to infect, so you have to go for the poor countries, and that's actually one of the tricks of the scenario. I don't know if there's that much thought put into it, but we're going to try, and we're just going to see if that's how it works. It'd be kind of cool if it did, right? We'll find out. Let's go for this. Start infecting the poor countries a little bit faster. That is not a very marked improvement, but we are getting at least some adjacency bonuses. We got into Zimbabwe and stuff like that. Okay, we are getting around. So 17 points to get to the next one. Do we just commit to this strategy at this point? I think so. Reduce attention span mutates for free. That is fine. Pick this up. Spread faster in the poor countries. Get me going, guys. Come on. Get me going somewhere. I just need to start building up some serious points. They finally detected me. But no one cares. No one's really worried about Brainrot. Good God, it's 2024 today. Brainrot's been around for many, many years. And what has anyone done about that? No, nothing. No one does anything about it. We should, probably. But we don't. 9 DNA points is kind of expensive for a Spore Burst is part of my problem. We'll go for some more addictiveness. We're starting to see a bit more momentum. This is definitely working better than what we did before. We're getting a few million people infected now per day. But these are very expensive still. 26 points in order to get any more of this. Remember, this is Mega Brutal. So right now, costs are going to be increasing rather dramatically as we continue as we go this scenario. The longer it goes, the worse it gets, basically. So that's a problem. All right. Well, let's go for raw infectivity there. South America is getting it. Whoop! Almost missed that red bubble over there. That would have been hilarious. I don't think I've missed a bubble in many years. How are we looking as far as cure? A lot of people are working on the cure now. I may have to do a protest. How expensive is that? 14? Okay. Let's go for the distribution level 3. That leads to YouTube Shorts. Oh my god. You want to talk about the short attention span? It's the YouTube knockoff of TikTok. Yep. Oh my god. What the hell just happened? That... I actually don't know what happened. I don't know how that happened just now. But we just got a frick ton of freebies. Okay. Well, that's cool. 69 DNA points, huh? That was intentional. It's nice. Well done. But, like, that was intentional, and we all know it. Come on. Cure is 29% complete, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's, cost keeps going up. Cost keeps going up. Freaking heck. Genetic drift. We could go for the regional videos. It costs the same amount. YouTube Shorts reduces severity? Why would I want that? No, though. Why would I actually want that? I don't want that. Let's get the regional videos instead. Would have been funny to go for YouTube Shorts, but let's be honest, YouTube Shorts were a mistake. All right, they just were. YouTube Shorts were a mistake. Shouldn't have done it. YouTube's never going to take over that sphere, just like they keep trying to take on Twitch. And let's be honest, that ain't working either. All right, so we could reset the cure. How are we doing as far as... Okay, so Greenland's the only place not infected. We can afford to go for steal content and then protest, and then we'll go ahead and burn down that cure, right? That did not burn it down very much at all. Wow, okay, not good. Dementia, total brain failure, 48 points. Well, we're starting to kill a little bit, so DNA's starting to come in, which is good. I probably want people to just worship the Brainrot, though. We've almost got everyone infected, so let's go for Brainrot worship and aggressiveness. Never mind. I think this is a lethal-only thing. There's no Nurex worship, and we just got total brain failure. Okay, so there's literally nothing to do, and there's no genetic reshuffles. Hold on, there is something to do. Brainrot, 118 points. Yeah, I don't think that the developer intended this to be this way. Playing on Mega Brutal might have been a slight error. That said, if we can kill fast enough, maybe we can still make this work, maybe. I don't know. I mean, the lethality is as good as it's gonna get. I can only sit back and pray at this point. I got a feeling this is slightly off, like 2% off on the cure. I kid you not. I mean, the faster we cure, obviously the kill, the more we destroy the research, but like, they're at 100%. Which means they're now taking care of this. So unless there's a way to destroy it further anywhere else, I mean, Brainrot won't do it. Steal content, steal content, steal content, steal content. No, I was just checking to see if there's anything that would work. Gosh dang it. All right, we were barely off on that. Barely off. I think that was actually just straight out bad luck. But, okay, fair enough. So now we know that going for things like the iPad distribution actually does work in this case. We want to be able to spread faster in the poor countries. I also still want to be able to get the iPad security and stuff like that. But let's go down these routes. Let's get some basic infectivity up and running. Blah, blah, blah. Same as before. Oh, they actually detected me already. That was remarkably fast. My severity wasn't that high. Disturbing, but okay. What do you mean the US has already started working on a cure? Dude, I've barely done anything. How the heck are you already working on a cure? How dare you? I will say, though, while this scenario is just a little bit janky, it does feel nice once in a while to jump back into some more Plague Inc. I don't know, I'm still holding out hope that sooner or later they're going to release some more content for this and for Rebel Inc., you know? Endemic is due, right? It's time. It's time to get some more content, guys. I've heard tell that they want to continue developing out things like the cure mode a little bit further, which I am all for, by all means. That sounds like a lot of fun. Cure mode was an interesting way of changing up the game. I've also heard that Endemic is working on a third game right now. No idea what. Though I am hoping with the relationship I have with that company, and having actually met like the founder and the lead developer, maybe, just maybe, I'll get some early access, and someday I'll be able to show that off to you guys. No idea when. This is not some subtle pseudo-announcement, but it would be really cool if I could, right? I think so. So far, I haven't actually used any Spore Bursts, by the way. I just feel like that was maybe a slight red herring. Sometimes when you have lots of, like, cross-border infectivity, that's really worthwhile. I'm getting the sense that cross-border infectivity is pretty weak with this worm, though. So that's spending points to not really gain much of anything. I'd rather just hold on to that, and then we could use it for things like, you know, maybe getting the islands later on. We could go for some early lethality. What's the cure look like? Still not that bad. We can go ahead and pick up iPad distribution. Once again, we get a bunch of free infectivity here, which is nice. So that's something. But yeah, once the cure research goes up a little bit more, I think what we need to do is just go ahead and start ramping up the lethality a little bit earlier than I did before. I think that's all I did wrong. If I had just started killing people a little bit faster and I wasn't so merciful, we would have won last time. But no, I'm just too nice. So let's go for, I guess, Brainrot Worship and Aggressiveness now, plus we could go for Reduced Attention Span and Dementia, and I'm hoping we get something like Total Brain Failure for free, because I apparently need to save a lot of DNA if I want to get full-on Brain Rot. Full-on Brain Rot would give me things like Corpse Transmission. With Corpse Transmission, we could actually just, like, wait and Spore Burst the islands, and we'd be completely fine. That said, it doesn't look like we're going to get that lucky, so let's go ahead and just focus on this. 98 DNA points. We're very close. Gosh dang, with that freaking genetic drift, though, we were... there it is. All right, now I have Corpse Transmission. We're fine. Now, we haven't done any protests. I'll reset the cure in a little bit in just a minute, but now we're going to start killing very, very quickly. Let's go for that protest. We're not missing any countries. The Corpse Transmission will take me the rest of the way. Now we're killing quickly. Tell me we're not seriously killing too slowly, though. I should be fine. I've got Corpse Transmission, right? We should be fine. We can't kill fast enough to have a problem, right? No! Wait a minute. Greenland! Oh, God. All right, get the YouTube shorts or something. I don't care. Get that infectivity up. God! Greenland! What's the point of Corpse Transmission that doesn't actually, like, transmit? What's the point? What is the point? One more time. Also, I just realized I misread this. Increase iPad security. This is not going to be a drug resistance. That's why we're spreading so slowly. There's nothing that makes it easier to fight off in the rich countries. Unless addictiveness actually secretly does that and it's just not telling me. So that's why we're so slow. I keep telling people when they create scenarios, don't just copy everything that already exists and reskin it, right? You have to be able to rebalance it and kind of rework that. Just because the base game has drug resistance doesn't mean everything needs to. But you also need to be aware, like, what the downstream consequences are if you choose to ignore certain parts of this, right? Like, if you just leave out the drug resistance, okay, but be aware that it's gonna be very difficult in order to spread in some of these countries. Maybe make it so that something else gives you kind of a little bit of urban or rich country spread, right? In the transmissions or the symptoms, right? You have to find other ways of solving the same problem. I don't like it when people reskin, and to the developers' credit here, they did not reskin the base Nurak scenario at all. But they also, I think, unwittingly created a very unbalanced scenario from the base game, and that's not the best. Okay, do we try going for something like YouTube Shorts to reduce severity to try and prevent people from getting very active in the cure, and that's one way of doing things? Maybe. I don't know about that. I think that's still dumb. Let's get the rest of these land-based connections. I'll go ahead and do some Spore Bursts to get into places like Greenland a little bit earlier, and maybe that's one thing I could do differently. Don't rely on the Corpse Transmission, even though that totally should have worked. And instead, we'll just use the Spore Burst to get us a little bit more momentum in some of these countries before we start killing too quickly. Like now, we'll go ahead and do the last couple of bursts, like so. I'm not going to worry about the rest right now. Let's go ahead and start killing a bit, and then we could go ahead and reduce the cure progress. I'll do that earlier this time around, resetting it, which hopefully... Again, I don't feel like it actually is slowing this down, though. I feel like this is actually making it worse. I might be wrong on that. It's just the feeling I've got. Anyway, all right, total brain failure and stuff. Now we already have a little bit more people infected. Come on, come on, come on, come on. A little bit more infectivity, guys. Go, go, go. Like, I need to kill quickly enough, but not this quickly. This is the other problem. I just realized there's no cold or heat resistance, which means that we don't spread in places like Greenland at all. All right, so you're telling me we have to get things like the extra infectivity here to have a chance, and then I have to hope I get 100 points so I can go for Brainrot fast enough. Doing this is enough to get me there, right? That is enough. So, okay, we've got everyone in the world infected. Now it's a question of how quickly can we kill. Can we kill fast enough? Come on, click symptoms. We can. That gets me the Brainrot. And now, do we actually kill fast enough to stop the cure? And I think the answer is yes. Okay. So you have to go for the extra infectivity. So it ends up working. We pulled this off on Mega Brutal. It took a few attempts. That is honestly how things usually go. I mean, sometimes I can jump. If you put me into any like reskinned old scenario of Plague Inc., can I beat it on Mega Brutal first try? Yeah, usually. But most of the time, if you tweak things up a little bit, you never really know exactly... There we go, only 200 people left. You never really know exactly how things have been tweaked, and therefore, it sometimes takes 2 or 3 times, and sometimes I cut that out, I practice a couple of times, and then I record. You're seeing behind the curtain this time around. You see how it works, but there we go. 524 days, 85% cure progress, 39,989 points, 2 stars this time around. I think that the idea behind the scenario with Brainrot could be kind of fun. I just don't think it's very deeply explored. We got a few little things, the short attention span, kind of addictedness to the internet and stuff, absolutely, but I think the theme could be expounded on a fair bit. And then, like I said, in this case, we pulled it off on Mega Brutal. It is possible to beat it, so you don't have to have the drug resistance, cold resistance, heat resistance, but you do see how it changes up the game experience quite a lot. And it did take a little bit of luck and then just a very specific build order in order to actually get enough infectivity to even stand chances in places like Greenland. So, yeah, I'd say this is kind of a lukewarm scenario to me. It worked. It's okay. I like the idea behind it. I just think mostly it needs a little bit more creativity behind it, right? More descriptions, more leaning on the theme, and just more immersiveness. And then anything else you really can forgive. As long as it's fun to play and it's funny to read, you know, and it works, you can get away with a lot. So we'll give that one a go. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. If so, I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.